Let's go ahead and cut through the crap and talk a little true crime today. It is 2004, and a preacher goes to pick up an elderly farmer by the name of Frank Craig at his farm outside of Hickman, California, a small town in the Central Valley of California, and puts Craig into his vehicle, throws the wheelchair that Craig uses to get around to the back of the truck, and they go into town to try to ostensibly run some errands and to see the barber. Craig's recently received some mail. Among that mail is a rebate check that he's been waiting for. He starts to discuss it with the preacher, and the preacher looks down to look at the check and discuss what he's going to do with his money, and looks up in front of the vehicle and realizes he started to drift slightly on the side of a canal bank, and some rocks, some large rocks, are directly in front of him, and there's no time to avoid it. The front part of his vehicle hits the rocks. He veers off of the road and into the canal bank that is filled with water. Preacher does what he can, tries to get out of the vehicle, succeeds, and then tries to go in after Craig, but it's too late. The water has risen up above his headline, and he drowns shortly thereafter. That man's name was Doug Porter, preacher and small-town wrestling coach in a community called Houston, California, very close to Hickman. And Frank knew Doug's grandfather through the small town community, and Doug had even come to do some menial tasks for him in Doug's younger years. But as time has gone on, Craig felt his body begin to run down. He wasn't nearly as capable as he was, and he needed someone to handle certain things, such as his financial and legal affairs, stays over his property, his health proxy, etc., etc. And all of these he handed over to Doug as a position of trust. But that estate and those responsibilities had a focus. You see, Frank Craig had a dream. He wanted to make something known as the Central Valley Agricultural Museum. Frank was a very proud farmer and had accumulated a number of pieces of agricultural equipment over his 80-plus years of life. And he wanted those to be commemorated in a museum for people to see, along with pieces from other farms as farmers aged out, upgraded their equipment, or just donated things for people to view. And this was not without possibilities. In the 1990s, Craig had received a $3 million inheritance from a deceased brother. Now, this is in the 90s, and $3 million went a lot farther than it does in the 2020s. And he began to sit down and look for ways that he could make his dream come true. But he needed somebody that could sit there and bring the community together to get the proper people on board. And in that area of the world, one of the few people you can truly trust with your money is your small-town preacher. And from the outside looking in, it looked like they were taking steps to accomplish Craig's dream. They actually established a commission within the small town church made up of Porter and several elders. They made a checking system to actually